Brakes are on. Power's coming up in the Beechcraft Bonanza. Wind's basically down the run on the power setting. For whatever reason, my propeller wasn't holding in, but it is now. Gotta climb, get that gear.
Beechcraft 6 Juliet Sierra continue for west departure.
Yeah. We're going to continue. I'm going to turn that off. So yeah, I'd actually made a review video for this airplane. It's a pretty neat one. So if you haven't got a chance to try the V35B Bonanza, this thing is pretty enjoyable. It flies really good. It's fast. It's a cross-country airplane. But I typically just take it on nice short flights. And today we're going to take it away cross-country, see if we can gather some systems and get ourselves to the location that we're actually aiming for, with a still, for the most part, steam cockpit, very well equipped steam cockpit airplane. But yeah, I absolutely love the performance of this thing. They're just cool, great flyers. Yeah, we should be going towards some more interesting terrain, but I'm going to go ahead and shut up so that we can avoid you guys having listened to me. In fact, actually, I think when I edit this, I'll just get rid of some of the chatting in general, speed my voice up, and I'll dump over to pick up any highlights that I come up with. Not in VR again today. For the, actually, it's because my daughter's playing with the headset. She had her birthday earlier. She's using the Oculus to play around. So we don't have a headset, which is fine because the clarity is still actually much better using just the screen itself. But you just don't get that same level of immersion. There's some, like I said, I made a review video of this airplane, but I haven't actually posted it yet. And it's, I don't know, it's a really, it's a fun, complex, high performance complex airplane. It's a neat module. It's got some I don't want to say some interesting. It's got a couple things that don't quite work. I guess you could say in a way that you wish they would. But then it's got a lot of other stuff that works really, really good. So I don't know. It's kind of it's one that I'm rather happy to have, and I definitely find it enjoyable to fly on a regular basis. I might use this one a little bit more often here on this long cross country because I think it'll make the flight itself considerably more enjoyable than attempting to muscle your way through the Skyhawk. There are actually a few times where I was looking down at the route that I was going to be taking in the Skyhawk and saying, oh, I'm going to have to make this trek of the journey, and it's going to be some really boring terrain that I'm flying over, and it's a really long flight. It's going to take me 45 minutes or an hour, and I didn't want to dedicate that type of time to sitting here in front of the sim. So before you know it, you're going, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that flight. Maybe I'll do something else. Maybe I'll find another way to occupy myself inside a flight sim. And you start doing other things other than making the trip that you were kind of planning and hoping to make. And you realize you're only like 3 or 4 legs into the journey going, oh, I'm going to give up, I'm done. So, I don't know, flying something like this might make it a little bit better. Because it is, I mean, to traverse the United States from tip to tip with a propeller-driven airplane in any way is a bit of a feat. But to do it in one that's also kind of slow is even more so. You know, just a bit make a person a bit crazy. Just a little bit off. I thought I had it set. I'm just going to move it just a little bit. Should help keep that needle a little bit better, a little more accurate. Yeah, so if you're looking for a complex single to fly around in, you know, I couldn't really recommend this thing. Been quite a bit of fun. Let's take a look at that actually. Flaps. Back I did on where they're at. I think I've seen them down this way. There we go. I thought I had. There. Could have sworn I had a cylinder head temperature. Oh, there, right here. Close it, keep an eye on that. Joe, can do our scan. Again, complex airplanes, you get the addition of cowl flaps. I'm just trying to get a couple extra knots out of it. And this would be a time actually to have the cowl flaps open just because we are in a climb. Like I said, we'll keep an eye. You know, I think when I first started doing this, that would be a great knob actually for my cowl flaps. I think that might end up being where they go. To map that control wheel. But yeah, we would always keep our cowl flaps open during the climbing, pull them back for cruise. Anytime we had a high angle of attack, try to let that extra heat out of the cowl. This first time I don't know, I was going to say this is the first time I've taken this airplane above 10,000 feet, but it's not, because the other video that I had made for this airplane was actually going to be done out of Aspen in Eagle, Colorado. So I've taken this airplane above 2,000 feet there. But in my video, I did comment that the only time I've actually ever flown this airplane has been in the sim. I commented that I've got a couple friends who have them. I just need to make some chats with some folks and see if I can go fly it, because I'd love to see just kind of how this airplane does compare in real life to, you know, to a real V35 Bonanza. And I've always heard that they're great airplanes. I've always heard that they're incredibly enjoyable. If I was looking for something that's going to be an economical aircraft to own and operate, that's also a complex airplane, this would probably be the one that I would be drawn to quickest. The Cessna 210, of course, has a lot of cargo capacity as well. The Cherokee 6 is kind of similar in terms of loaded up with people. But I don't know, I think there's just something kind of special on it. It's probably because of that forked tail. But the Bonanza just kind of has a certain appeal to it that some of the other complex aircraft out there just don't have. And like I said, I'm not sure where it would sit when it comes to in a matrix hierarchy, I guess, of what would be the most economical to own and live with on a daily, regular basis. Leveling off here at 11.5. Turn on the autopilot here for a minute. Altitude hold. Which, if there's anything that I don't really trust in the sim, it's the altitude function of the autopilot. Right now, this thing is showing 99,000 feet. That's kind of silly. That's a known quirk of this one. I'm not quite sure what it is, and if I had anything that I'm kind of complaining about because I haven't figured out exactly how to utilize it, it is this altitude selector. The altitude hold function here of the autopilot seems to work okay, but this altitude selector seems kind of wonky. So anyway, that's actually the only complaint I have. But everything else seems to work for the most part pretty well, unless it just doesn't have any type of functionality in it at all. But I'm gonna let this turn on because I've got to go put a kid to bed. And I'm going to let this thing kind of get a little bit closer to where we're trying to go. But temperatures look good. I've been leaning the airplane out the entire time. We're currently burning, what, 11 gallons an hour. That's not bad. And so I say I don't think I'm lean of peak. I'm definitely not lean of peak. Right there on it, yeah. So we're running right at peak EGT. So that looks pretty good. We're on our course, on our altitude. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it. And we're doing 130 knots indicated at 11,000 feet. Yeah, I should go in the back room so I can find my OD6B, do a temperature compensation, find out what our actual airspeed is. I haven't done that by hand in 20 years. I don't think that'll be happening today. You know, this is working out pretty well. And, it's a neat little detail there. Sorry, off the propeller. You can see the shadow of the aircraft in the cockpit showing up on the propeller as it goes around. I like it. Kind of cool. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. switch that to the right tank. As they do not burn quite even, obviously. Well, they don't burn even. They burn out of whichever one's been selected. It's left or right, not of both. So now it's on the other side. But yeah, a few minutes away. Airplane apparently did very well with the autopilot. About 20 minutes left. That's not bad. And we're getting a ground speed of 169 knots. That's not bad at all either. To show for our wind. KLWS. Here's aux. Good. Oh. Yes. So info. It's a 5,000 foot runway basically. By 100 feet. ASOS frequency. We have an ILS runway 26. We have a departure. And then that's 6,500 feet. Like that. So 826 is 65. The longer one is. Performance data. Density altitude of 34,000 feet. For some reason, it seems like that might be wrong. Indicated altitude. That's better. So our indicated altitude is 5,000 feet. Airspeed is 130. 130 knots, 129. Barrow is about 2998. So we're getting 157 true, density altitude of 12.3, and winds. Really? Oh, indicated airspeed. Let's go past that. Or it's not indicated airspeed, OAT. Around here. There you are. Is that going to be looking for degrees Celsius? Yep. So we're at about. That's 10, about 8 degrees Celsius. And our heading is, about 110 degrees. There we go. Now you got some more accurate data. True airspeed of 162 knots, 216 at 8. 201 at 9 knots, that makes sense. So it's going to take us at 169 knots. We need 150, about 750 feet per minute descent rate if we maintain that all the way down. And what I was looking for was the field elevation where we're going. That piece of data, I don't see. Oh, there we go. Elevation 1,400 feet. So we're going to have to lose what the better part of 9,500 feet or so in altitude. Actually, heck, we're going to lose about 10,000 feet. So 10,000 feet, you need about 30 miles to get down at about 750 feet a minute. So we go a little bit inside of that. Go down at about 1,000 feet. Inside of 30 miles, we get to about 10 minutes or so. That should work out. This should put us getting close, yeah. I was going to say we should be getting close to a little bit more mountainous terrain up here too, so that should be kind of nice. We'll attempt to use the autopilot to get us down, and in doing so, attempt to do a fairly standard rate descent. Still got a little more fuel in the right tank than the left tank. That should work out well. Autopilot's still on. Descent's coming down. The airport should still be about 12 o'clock. We will have to watch this descent because obviously we do not have we don't have a type of altitude increase selector, so we're going to have to actually stop the descent ourselves. And we're planning to stop it at about 2,500 feet or so. Put us about 1,000 feet above the ground. Hopefully that'll put us pretty close to the airport when we get down. That's cool. You can even see it move right here on the reflection. And that little bit of a shadow that we have on the propeller, that's pretty slick. Details in this game have not ceased to kind of amaze me, I guess you could say. It's pretty slick stuff. Picked up quite a bit of airspeed in the descent, doing 190 over the ground. So you need at least that 1,000 feet a minute to get down here. Oh, pretty close to that. But we're going to go ahead and just increase just a little bit more. Like I said, airport should be 12 o'clock. I don't see it yet. I have a feeling we'll see it before we get to it. Got something over there to the left. Looks like a couple of runways. From everything I'm seeing. Well, unless we're getting blown a little bit, which is possible. That might be it. Orientation looks about right. So they kind of formed into a V. Like that, yeah. I'd say that's it. So this plan will kind of angle towards the middle of the field, overfly the midfield, and most likely enter a downwind for 2.6, I think was the runway. Let's see. Yeah, for 2.6. But before we get too into that, let's take a peek. ASOS is 3575. hear what they're doing down there. Oh, 13557. Wow. Yeah, not dyslexic. That's what they always say.
Kilo Lima Whiskey Sierra automated weather observation 00 Zulu. Wind 306 at 5. Visibility 10.
Light ones out of the
Sky
north.
condition clear. Temperature 39 Celsius. Dew point 10 Celsius. Altimeter 29.
It's like 30 will work out best.
Kilo Lima Whiskey Sierra automated weather
Oh,
observation
for fly wind to a right
020
down for only
Zulu.
30.
Wind 306 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 39 Celsius. Dew point 10 Celsius. Altimeter 299 6. Kilo Lima Whiskey Sierra automated weather observation 0200 Zulu.
19.4 this tower. Because we're here. Why not? Let's listen and see what's going on. Maybe we'll hear something cool. Alright, we got 1,000 feet to go to get down to 3,000 feet. They said we're going to try to go down to 2,500 feet. But you know what? We're going to actually probably take off with this autopilot. I'll do the rest myself. Thank you, autopilot. You've been a great help. Got a helicopter completely out of control over there, looks like. Blinkers down, 3 green lights. Other runway. I'm going to say that a time maybe didn't update because it looks like that sun is much further down than it should be right now. But I guess, I don't know, maybe we'll say that we were spending a little bit too much extra time getting our airplane checked out earlier. Alright, we've got gear now, we've got flaps down. Cowl flaps are currently closed, shouldn't be needed. We're a little bit high, working out the trim, but wind should be almost directly down the runway. I don't know why there's a bus on the taxiway, but I don't think we'll worry about that. Power's coming out. Not the smoothest of landings, but you know what? I think we'll walk away from it. Might have been a little bit fast. I know I was doing about 85 knots or so, which is, I will almost guarantee, a little fast for a Bonanza, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that today. We'll worry about that on some other day. And we're trying to get this thing a little bit closer. But you know what? I'm happy because I'm at an airport that's further to the east than where I started today. We're back into some mountainous terrain, and I say mountainous with a grain of salt. It's not particularly mountainous, but we're back into some terrain that's going to be a little bit more interesting than flying directly over a valley. It's still not as bad as flying over Kansas and Oklahoma when we get there eventually. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. We do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying some of these little videos, some of these little trips, and I'll try to keep posting them as soon as I can and try to keep doing them. So anyway, thank you again. So we'll take this thing and taxi it back up towards the ramp. And like I said, I'm still sitting here amazed at the shadow representation showing up on the propeller. It's the littlest thing, but it's a detail that adds so much realism. I mean, to a sim, even I'm not even in VR, I'm just watching this thing. If I was in VR and able to see that, I would have been even more impressed. And I already talked about the sunshades, and the sunshades in this thing are really, really cool. I like the way they look. They give me a really good vibe. They work fairly well if you have the sun overhead, you know, because it gives the effect that you're looking for. The effect that I expect from having dealt with having sunshades that look almost identical to this in numerous airplanes over the years. They work the way you expect them to. But it's just, I don't know, this is a cool little airplane. It's a cool little module to fly around in. Now, that does not seem to be the normal thing I would have expected to see on the ramp down here. But you know what? Flight Sim World, this is good stuff. Maybe that's why we have fire trucks rolling all over the place. Because we've got some guy with a little 8-bladed drone wandering about here. Got ourselves some Cubs and Comanches. Oh, I said Comanche. That probably isn't a Comanche. I think it's that other little light airplane. I can't remember what the name of it was. Little pits over there. Got some fun things. But in the meantime, I think this is where we're going to park it. So let's go ahead. Avionics off.